Okay, let's look at sketching some cosine functions. So we have y equals cos x as our base function. Key values are 0, 90, 180, 270, and 360. Cosine starts at 1, 0, minus 1, 0, 1. And then we can look at what's happening to the function. So let's look at what will affect x. So x is anything inside the brackets, and y will be anything outside the bracket. So that means for x, we're going to divide by 2 and subtract 60. For y, we're going to multiply by -4 and subtract 2. So I'm going to divide all of these by 2 and subtract 60. So that gives me minus 60, minus 15, 30, 75, and 120. And now for all of these, I'm going to multiply by -4 and subtract 2. So that makes these ones minus 6. That makes these ones minus 2. And that makes this one 2. So let's look at graphing these. So we have a minus 15 and a 75, which could be a little bit challenging to graph. So let's start with the ones that are easier to graph. So we have at minus 60 and minus 6. I'm going to skip this one for now. I'm going to come back to it though. I have 30 and I have 2. I'm going to skip this one. I'll come back to it, and I have 120. So there's 120, and then back down at minus 6. So everything is evenly matched. So if I look, there's 1, 2, 3 spaces between these ones. So minus 15 has to be here because this is minus 30. So it's a space, or half a space in this case. And we're down at minus 2. Same thing here. It'll be a space and a half. And we'll be down at minus 2. So there's my original cycle. And if I look, we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I run out of space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to run out of space. That's okay. On top, or between, halfway between is where my next max should be. So if I look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, same thing to the next max. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the next max. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the next max is out here. We're going to go the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then there'll be 3 spaces between a minimum and a maximum, and I'll be at minus 2. So I'm going to keep looking between the max and the min. We'll be at minus 2, or a space and a half away. And I'm heading off to there. Okay, same thing in this direction. We're going to go a space and a half and a space and a half. And there is our graph. Okay, next one we want to look at is finding the equation of a function. In this case, it doesn't tell us whether it wants sine or cosine, so we do have some options. So first things first, I want to know what the maximum and what the minimum are. So the maximum is, in this case, 1.5. The minimum is minus 1.5. So first thing I can find is the amplitude. It's the max minus the min divided by 2, or in this case 1.5. Next I can find the k value, which is the max plus the min divided by 2, and I get 0. Okay, so first thing I want to do after that is I want to put in the midline. Okay, so it's really good to put in the midline. It helps us find our phase shift in our cycle, so our midline is at 0. So I'm going to put in my midline. There we go. Now, I'm going to pick a cycle. So if I look, I could start here. It's an upside down sine graph if I do it that way, or a sine graph with a vertical reflection. If I look, because I've started at 0, 0, and I've gone all the way out to 720 to finish one cycle, I actually already have my period and I don't need to count. So the period is 720. Or you could have counted the number of spaces and multiplied that by 30. So it says that 720, to find my b value, because it's not given to me, is 360 divided by b. I'm going to rearrange and solve for b. And it says my b value is 1/2. Again, my b value does not change putting it into the equation. That's what it would go in as. So if I want to do this sine graph, I would say that the phase shift is that there is none. Okay, I'm starting right on the origin. I've just done a vertical reflection. So if I do a phase shift of none, I would say that I have y equals, I'm going to have to put in that vertical reflection, but now I have an amplitude of 1.5 sine. My b value is 1/2. There is no phase shift, so I just have x, and my k value is 0. So it's as simple as that. However, say I wanted a cosine graph. So a cosine graph could go to the left, it could go to the right, but it starts at either a maximum or a minimum and not on the midline. So if I look, I could start all the way over here. Let's start here. Why not? Now I don't get the full cycle. That's okay, but at least I know where it starts. So say I wanted to do a cosine graph and I wanted to start here. Could have started over on the left. I did not. So I want to say a phase shift. And in this case, I'm going to say the phase shift is to the right 180 degrees. So I can say that y is equal to, I have one, we did do a reflection, so 1.5 because it started at a minimum, cos I have my 1/2 for my b, x. I do have a phase shift, but again, no k.